2025 Montana real estate market was absolutely wild, and I wouldn't expect anything less from the Big Sky State. You know, we saw a little bit of good, a little bit of bad, and some ugly, and that's what we're here to cover in this video. Sellers, you had to reposition a little bit. Buyers finally gained some leverage, and all that boils down to is a wonderful rebalancing of the market. After that crazy COVID price surge and the interest rates of staying high this year, all of those factors contributed to what we're going to go over here in this video. So make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and let's get into it. I was saying 2025 here in Montana, we saw a massive rebalancing of the real estate market. Buyers became super sensitive to the payment dynamics. What do I mean by that? Your monthly payment, what it costs for you every month to pay your mortgage. With the interest rates staying higher this year and not moving as much with the federal funds rate cuts, it shrunk the buyer pool. We saw applications decline for first-time home buyers, refinancing. All of these things brought less buyers to the market. With money being harder to get and being more expensive, buyers became even more intentional with the homes that they were buying, meaning they were being more picky. Buyers wanted to see homes that were clean, that had repairs made, and honestly had been taken care of. If you hadn't done those things, you suffered as a seller. Buyers had options to move on, to continue shopping, or to negotiate with you if it was the house that they wanted, but there were a few things that they needed to make it just right. We saw them shift from urgency to strategy. Buyers took advantage of the FHA home loans, VA loans, down payment assistance programs, and anything else lenders could come up with to help make loans more affordable on a monthly basis. We saw the low down payment programs like 1% conventional, 3.5% FHA, the down payment assistance programs. All of these were very powerful tools this year in purchasing a home. I had many clients get a home for very little out of pocket. One client even got their house for $1,000 to go from renting to owning their home. Bottom line, buyers were more picky. If you're a seller, you've got to be ready for that. You've got to position yourself as the most obvious choice on the market as far as the condition, the price, and the location goes. So we've seen this market reversal in the seller's market. It's become more balanced. The days of aggressively overpricing your home and still having it sell are a thing of the past. There's a lot of sellers that are stuck in that mindset of, we'll price it high and we'll negotiate down. That's a terrible, terrible strategy. As smart sellers that are going to be competing with you will adjust themselves to come in just below you and be more of an obvious choice to the current buyer pool than your home. And the buyers are going to look at all of the homes on the market that they can now because they finally have an opportunity to shop. So if you're a seller, be prepared for longer days on market and be prepared to put in some work to make your house presentable to the buyers. Overall, we still saw some price growth in Montana. Missoula's one of our bigger urban centers, along with Helena, saw modest price growth to a decline. Both of these places have a couple things in common. They have seen a lot of new construction. They saw a lot more boom during the pandemic, and that caused a much bigger upturn. So we're seeing a bigger correction as the market starts to balance itself back out. Now, Great Falls is kind of an outlier. It did not see as much of an appreciation as the rest of our major urban centers here in Montana. And that's why it's continually appreciating at a consistent rate. We saw almost a 6% increase this year in home sales and median price. Now, a lot of factors go into this, and that's why it's really important to have somebody that understands the market dynamics in all three of these different markets. That's something that we do here is we sell in all of the markets. We keep an eye on all of Montana so we understand the market as a whole, and then we can dial it down in each pocket because each has its own little unique quirks and needs. So moving forward into 2026, we need to keep this in mind as there's going to be more competition in some of these other cities, and there is going to be more opportunity for investment, but probably more competition on the buy side. So there's going to be less inventory in Great Falls and some of these smaller cities. So your strategy is going to have to change based on your location just a little bit. If you want to know more about what strategy is going to work well for each location, stay tuned for our other videos that are on the way, or shoot us a message and schedule your private consultation. The Fed was supposed to cut a whole bunch, and the mortgage rates were supposed to follow this year. That didn't go as planned. We saw interest rates stay about that 6 mark. We're up towards 7 at the beginning of the year, and it really slowed down buyer activity, application activity. So lenders pivoted. They started reviving these programs that can help buyers get into homes to where they needed down payment assistance. If they needed repairs, they needed a secondary loan. There were all of these different moving parts that a great lending partner was able to work with you and with your agent to make your transaction to your best benefit. We saw a lot of buyers use some of these tools and really take advantage of the rebalancing of the market. And they did that by taking advantage of these trends right here. We saw a 17% increase year over year in active listings. We also saw the days on market increase from 55 days to 68 days. So it takes longer to sell your house. We're going to switch over and take a quick look at some of these data points here. We have the entire MLS in blue, Great Falls is in gold, Missoula is in purple, and Helena is in red. And you can see the median sales price kind of peaked here right at the beginning of the year. And then we slowly started to decline. This lines up with where the Fed was supposed to cut rates, and they didn't cut nearly as much as we thought, or they didn't cut at all. That slowed lending down, which slowed down our buyers. And you can see that in the representation of new listings, of where it just kind of stays flat and goes up. So there's not a ton of new listings, but the homes for sale is going up. So it's taking longer for these homes to sell that are just getting listed, and there's less of them being listed, but pending sales have dropped. So again, all of this is pointing towards more inventory. As a buyer, that means you have more options to use your leverage. And as a seller, you have more opportunity to do homework on your competition, price your home properly, and get it sold within a certain window. All this data gives us a recipe and tells us where we need to be to make a transaction happen. Days on market has gone up to 68. That's a lot. 2.5 months on market to get your home sold. That's a lot longer than most people would plan for. And again, to negate this, you have to have strategy. There's a strategy on the buy side and the sell side, no matter what the market is. It just takes data and knowing that transactions happen every single day. We just have to be one that is within the parameters of what the market is demanding, and we can make something happen. Great Falls has some agile growth in this shifting market. We've saw a great seller's market still here as long as listings were priced appropriately. If you were just a little bit out of range and the house down the road was 5% better with a little bit newer amenities, that house sold much more quickly than yours did. If you did your research and you looked at what was on the market and you came in and made sure that house made sense for the buyers, you had a wonderful transaction, you had 2 or 3 offers, and you were able to move forward with your plans. So Great Falls, again, the affordability leader. Helena has had a bit of a market correction, so there's opportunity in both of these. Missoula is the competitive premium. There's a demand there because of the university and the airport and all of the other things that go along with Missoula and the larger population. Now, all 3 of these markets are part of the broader correction in real estate to where less buyers, more houses, we have more negotiating. There's just more power on the buy side than there is the sell side. And again, it's not like sellers are missing out. They don't have the leverage they did when everybody could get approved for a loan. So in 2026, what does that look like for buyers? This may be one of the last years to where you can use these down payment assistance programs. You can use your inspections as leverage. You can use your appraisal as leverage. And I say that because the Federal Reserve has promised more interest rate cuts. They're trying to bring the mortgage rate down to somewhere in that 5% range, which would be great because it would make money more affordable, but it's going to do that for everybody and increase our demand. So my recommendations right now as a professional realtor is do your research. Talk to a lender, talk to a professional, and find out what tools are available for you. Find out if you qualify for down payment assistance, if you qualify for an FHA loan, if you could use a VA loan or a USDA loan. All of these products give you flexibility and leverage towards buying your house. You pair that with a lender that knows how to find a home that needs a buyer and has room to negotiate. You are very powerful in this market as a buyer. What does this mean for sellers going into 2026? It means this is a positioning-based market. You have competition. Simple. There's more inventory out there, meaning there's more data for you to properly price your home. The issue with COVID was nobody knew how to price homes because payments were so cheap and people were willing to overpay for homes. Now we're at a point where our buyers are very cognizant of how much they're spending on a monthly basis and what they're willing to, what that should get them. And as a seller, you need to put yourself in a buyer's shoes and look at the inventory around and position yourself to be the most obvious choice in the market. Now that comes with a strategy as well. I call it the 3 Ps. There's another video on it. Go check that one out. But if you nail all of those, there are buyers out there that are pre-approved and ready to purchase your home. You do this so well that you still end up with 2 to 3 offers on this property. And that's how you know that you actually got market price. We had several people that thought this was a good value, that the home had the amenities that it should for the price point, and that it didn't need a ton of repairs. So all of these things stack up to make a good deal on both sides of a balanced scale, and then everybody can move forward happy. If you want to talk about a customized plan or strategy for getting your home sold in the least amount of time for the most amount of money in your pocket for the least amount of hassle, shoot me a message and we will schedule a one-on-one. So overall, we're going to see a balanced market here in Montana in 2026. We're going to see a steady interest rate decline. We're going to see some regional opportunity to where we're going to see some appreciation. We're going to see some market decline, and that's just going to balance us out to the point where buyers and sellers are confident in making transactions happen again. Right now, there's still some uncertainty, and that's where opportunity lies. If you can find somebody who's certain, who understands these market dynamics, and can take advantage of the opportunities in front of us, you're going to win in real estate in 2026, no matter if it's buying, selling, investing, refinancing, whatever your goals are, it's possible. There's a strategy, and you just have to know where to look. So thank you for making it this long in the video. If you want to chat more about coming up with a personalized strategy for you, please reach out. My phone number is right here. All of my contact information is in the description. Thanks again. Happy New Year. Have a wonderful 2026.